Another day, another cringeworthy act from Wizards of the Coast. It isn't even Pride Month, but they need to remind us that Dungeons and Dragons is no longer about epic adventures or grand quests, about fighting evil monsters. It's about multicolored gay romance in a village square, with a variety of freakshit races that we are not even sure are biologically compatible, having romantic loving dances. Of course, the picture is so horrible composed that it is difficult to tell exactly what is going on here at first. On closer examination, we can see that everyone here is involved in a homosexual relationship. Interesting. In a medieval farming village, how exactly do they intend to continue to exist? How do they intend to reproduce when nearly everyone is gay? I think there is some seriously failure of world building here. Not that D&D has any good world building in a while. Probably Eberron was the last half-decent setting that they made, and that was basically steampunk. But I digress. What is the point of this image? Almost all of the replies are negative. People are sick of the gay pandering in D&D. People are sick of the god-awful soulless art style that is anti-beauty. It is intentionally grotesque, this weird attempt at something avant-garde that just isn't. This art style is only enjoyed by millennials who watch retarded cartoons like Rick and Morty and think it makes them high IQ because it talks about nihilism. That is the target audience of Dungeons and Dragons. They even had a licensed Rick and Morty supplement. One of the tweet's replies put it best, that Frank Frazetta is rolling in his grave. Indeed, while it is sad that he passed, it is at least some small mercy that he did not see what became of the fantasy genre. If there is an afterlife, let us hope there are no windows into our world for him to be pained by what he sees. What a disgusting travesty. This game is not about homosexuality. It is not about transsexuality. Yet they have made it about that. The writers of this game have made the game not about the experience of fantasy heroes, but about the experiences of their own lives as coastal homosexual coffee shop denizens. The game about food markets and having ramen noodle and bubble tea. About little quaint adventures to rescue a missing puppy. That would be fine now and then, but it's all about shoving the most low-effort attempt at cultural diversity into your face, or making a gay college dating simulator adventure, and wondering why low-effort, old-school D&D rip-offs like Shadow Dark are making millions of dollars. People are sick of D&D and its shit art, its shit writing, and its shit rules. The 2024 rulebook is awful. The monster manual is horribly organized, and the few new stat blocks they added are horribly formatted and hardly worth the trouble of an entire new book. They could have just made a new monster manual, but why do that when they could just commission some more dogshit art of the same 200 monsters that have been in the book the last few editions? They put in no effort hardly anymore. Every adventure now is either a retarded slice of life snooze fest that might as well be a video game cutscene, or it's a gothic horror meme trying to bank off the success of Curse of Strahd. Not that we can like Curse of Strahd anymore, as Strahd was shown to be an incel by these moronic social justice warriors. So, who even knows what these idiots want anymore? Does it even matter? Just stop playing their games. Start a game of something else at your local game store. Start a game of Adventurer Conqueror King system. Start a game of Basic/Expert. Or even just run original 5e. But for the love of God, don't run their dogshit basic adventures. Please write your own. Try to publish your own. Get them printed. See if your local game store will buy them. People would love to buy an adventure that isn't this god-awful post shit. Of course, the best dungeon masters write their own adventures, but if that's not an option, that's fine. Some people are too busy to make their own material. That's understandable, but when we get to the point where we are actively hoping for the hobby to die out, merely so it can die a dignified death, instead of being raped by the company responsible for it, so that they can get more DEI money from BlackRock, that is sign of a problem. It shouldn't be like this. We should be where the game was in early 5th edition, where even then, the first seeds of the social justice freak show were sown, and their sprouts clearly visible. But no one seemed to care. They dismissed it as alarmism. They said no one is forcing you to play their way. And that is true. But if you want to have any involvement with the game's official material, which 90% of these hypocritical twats did in the past, they just were too spineless to even make a fucking complaint about it when it went this way. Then you should be annoyed at this garbage. This pandering to LGBT is disgusting, but it won't end. Ever.